Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to introduce myself, and I hope you enjoy and stick around as I navigate this whole new world of video content. Anyways, my name is Tara Vaughn, and I am from Boston, Massachusetts, a little bit north of Boston, not exactly in the city, more like the suburbs of the city. I am 32 years old now, and 5 years ago, I buried half my family 1 week before Christmas in 2013. My significant other, Lee, who was 28 at the time, and I was 26. Him and his little brother, who lived with us, who was only 18 years old, were on their way home from a four-wheeling trip when they hit a patch of black ice and went into a tree. And that is when my little content life I had and I built and worked so hard for disappeared. That's when everything about me changed. The girl I was back then, the woman I was back then, is nobody of who I am today. 5 years ago, I didn't know anyone else my age at 26 years old who had suffered such a severe, tragic loss. I'm a mother. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and that was her dad and her uncle. She was 4 years old. 3 going on 4 when this happened. So, yeah, going from a household of the 4 of us just to me and a toddler was the hardest thing I've ever gone through and I ever will go through. And if you have lost a significant other, a partner, a husband, a wife, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you're not alone. Honestly, during that time in my life, looking back, and it's hard because I try not to look back, but it dawned on me recently while I was looking through YouTube content, there is nothing out there. Barely. I think there are 2 females I seen that only had a video or 2 posted, and they were fresh going through the loss of their significant other. But being 5 years out now and going through the journey that I have and the knowledge I've gained along the way is the most valuable thing that I have, because I survived to this point, which is a miracle in itself. And, I think doing videos and maybe helping someone out there who whole world has just crumbled. The pain that somebody goes through when losing the person they love. It's painful. It's the most pain you'll ever go through. That emotional pain, you could cut off my limbs. There is no physical pain that can compare. And even though I'm 5 years out, it still hurts like hell. I might have to edit this. I was hoping to get through this without tears. If you just lost a spouse, a partner, a husband, a wife, there's somebody else out there that knows what you're going through. You're not alone. You're going to be okay. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like the end of the world. But you're going to be okay. You don't want to hear it, I know, but I promise you are going to be okay. Anyways, let me move on. There is a quote that I came across a long time ago, and it's probably one of my favorites about losing a spouse or a significant other. Oh, before I go into the quote, let me backtrack a little bit. So, I wasn't legally married to my significant other, Lee. We were together for 6 years. We grew up together, actually. I was good friends with his ex-girlfriend, and he was very close with my ex-boyfriend. And we lived down the street from each other. Our families grew up together. I have photos of me at his grandparents' house when I was like 10 years old. So he has been intertwined into every fabric of my life from the very beginning. And if you would have told me back then that I was going to end up with him, or end up even wanting to be with him in that way, because I only seen him as a friend, as, one of my best friend's brothers, since his sister, my sister and technically in-law, is the same age. They're like 15 months apart, so, we grew up in a very small group in high school in our neighborhood. Yeah, but if you told me I was going to end up having a child and building this life with him, I would have thought you were crazy. And it's actually pretty funny because so many people, from our friends to our family, said, you two should get together. You'd make a great couple. And it's so crazy because looking back on it, and I don't know if other people feel like this or if it's just me, but I feel like my whole life that I was supposed to go through something so tragic. And it's crazy because I'm a very upbeat, happy, bubbly, outgoing type of personality. When I am around other people, that extra version comes out from me. However, I am more of an introverted person, so it's very difficult. If you didn't know what bipolar was previous to losing a spouse, then I hate to tell you, but you're about to find out, because you almost become a walking contradiction of everything. But anyways, we weren't legally married. We bought our house when we had our daughter instead of having a wedding, and I wanted to wait until I finished and got my college degree. And also, weddings are friggin' expensive, man. So part of me is so thankful that we took those steps and purchased our house and did it the way that we did. And we're planning to have the wedding we dreamed of, which, knowing me, would have cost 20, 30 grand, who knows. But, part of me wishes I had that special occasion to look back on with him, to think that he never got that and never will. It hurts, So, when I entered this world on December 8th of 2013, calling myself a widow was like, it became an issue from putting an obituary in the paper because we weren't legally married. Even though we've lived together for 6 years, we had, at the time, our 3.5, almost 4-year-old daughter. We just bought a house together. I mean, I've even had other widows say, oh, you're not a widow, you weren't legally married. Marriage is the sacred bond between two people in God's eyes. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. But at the same time, it is just a piece of paper, a certificate that you file with the courthouse. It doesn't make my love and our life that we built together any less. So, it hurt that I couldn't file for widow's benefits because we didn't get legally married. We were young, 26 and 28. We didn't have a life insurance policy. Again, we just bought our house, and I kid you not, we were bundling our brand new homeowner's insurance with both his truck, my car. We literally just had been working with an insurance agent to bundle everything together because we were settling in, basically. And our life insurance policies that I had added to this bundle package was due to go into effect 1 month later, come the new year, because that is when our policy was about to go into effect. I literally had the papers sitting on our desk here when I ever called the insurance agent like 3 months after the accident and told her what happened. She's like, please tell me he signed those papers. Please tell me you guys signed them. Even though whether I signed them or not was irrelevant because, that would have been like a very long shot. But basically, I was left at 26 years old to bury 2 family members, 2. And then I had 2 lawsuits against me from family members because when 2 people die in a car accident, so suddenly, and that's such a young age, people, family, loved ones, they need something or somebody to blame. Hell, I friggin' blamed a tree and fought it in the middle of the winter. I kid you not. I literally screaming, crying, cursing, hitting the tree. You want something to blame. Your brain can't make sense of such sudden loss. And that's why they say that when you do have loss in general, but especially sudden, you try to look for those signs that maybe that you should have seen or that they were there, oh my God, I knew he was going to have a heart attack. The way he was holding his arm that whole time, that's a sign. Your brain is trying to make sense of something so traumatic. Your body has been traumatized, every last part of you, when you lose your other half. So, with that said, sorry, I kind of didn't have a game plan for how I was going about with this video, but I am going to go ahead and read you this quote. And I read this a few years back, and for the life of me, I cannot find the original author to this quote. I don't know who wrote it, but I never read something more true for somebody like me, maybe somebody like you. So if you know who wrote this or the author, please comment below and let me know, because I would like to credit the author if I can. I don't want to get in trouble here or anything. So, all right, this quote, it says, "The death of a spouse or partner is different than other losses in the sense that it literally changes every single thing in your world going forward." That's the truth. When your spouse dies, the way you eat changes. The way you watch TV changes. Your friend circle changes or disappears entirely. Your family dynamic, life changes or disappears entirely. Truth. Your financial status changes. Your job situation changes. It affects your self-worth, your self-esteem, your confidence, your rhythms, the way you breathe, your mentality, your brain function. Ever heard the term widow brain? If you don't know what that is, count yourself as very lucky. And I'm sorry if for those of you who do know what that is. But if you've never heard the term widow brain, we will discuss it a little bit further, either in this video or the next one. Your physical body changes, your hobbies and interest, your sense of security. That's a very big one. Sense of security. Your sense of humor is gone. Your sense of womanhood or manhood. Every single thing changes. You are handed a new life that you never asked for and that you don't particularly want. It is the hardest, most gut-wrenching, horrific, life-altering of things to live with. The loss of a spouse or a significant other. So, yeah, this is a quote that I have saved all these years now, because anytime somebody tries to say, oh my God, I know what you're going through. I've been through a divorce, or I lost my dog last year, and while those other losses are painful, some just as much painful as, a loss. I hate people who try to compare loss and pain, and because they're all different in some sense, but they're all the same. Loss is loss, grief is grief. Somebody going through a divorce, that's a loss. That's grief. The loss of a family and the grief that one goes through during that, especially when there's kids involved and depending on the length of marriage, so it all depends on what degree they're feeling that pain and that loss. Every single one of us is different. Our circumstances are different. Our pain is different. While we might be able to relate, we might not, But I can say, being a young widow, so young and so lost, and I was a full-time college student at the time, with a house we just bought, with bills I've never paid before. He was my financial main supporter while I was finishing my college degree. All of a sudden, I'm responsible for not only having people come after me lawsuit-wise, which I pray that no one ever has to go through this during the worst time of their life, okay? And if you are, reach out to me, comment below. I have some good resources or contacts when it comes to lawyers in this arena and in this area of law. And I can try to help the best that I can. But anyways, I searched high and low. I needed somebody to relate to. I needed to know that I was going to be okay. What I was feeling, it was such a shock to my body. I drove around in circles and circles and circles. I slept outside at the cemetery afterwards many nights. That winter was all a blur. That Christmas, no memory of it whatsoever. Your body goes into a shock. That shock, safe to say, it's going to last at least a year. So during this year, if you are new to loss and you've just recently, within the last 3 months, have lost your other half, significant other, husband, wife, I need to come up with a better term for that, because it doesn't matter what label you put on it, somebody you love and shared a life with, you get what I'm saying. It's all the same in the sense that that's what I'm talking about. But yes, and I completely lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? Oh yes, if you've lost someone in the past 3 months or recently, You might just want to skip over the rest of the video. Your attention, your awareness is going to be very short-lived. Your brain goes through a huge change with such a shock. Your body goes through shock. I didn't eat for a little over 30 days in the beginning. That I had welts, big blisters on my tongue. It was like no matter how hard I was trying to force myself to eat, I couldn't get anything down. That was the last thing I wanted to do, was to eat, was to sleep. So your body's going to take a toll. It's going to take a toll on your body. And a word of advice I did read somewhere, and I can't remember where because this was 5 years ago now, was that when you first lose someone, you need to treat yourself like you are a patient in the ICU, because that is the equivalent of what has happened to you in the sense of your body and your emotional and the trauma that's been done. To treat yourself like you are a patient. Have someone help you with food. Take all the help you can get right now. And it's overwhelming. And I know it's easier said than done, but you know, I'm an introverted type of person. I lived a very quiet life with my little family. You know, we were close with our families, with visiting and our nieces and, you know, siblings, parents, stuff like that. But, you know, on occasion. So when death occurs in a family, you know, people start swarming you. And I personally completely shut down. I wanted nothing to do with anyone. It was like, I even kicked out my own parents from my house because that's how overwhelmed the shock was and the trauma to my body. So it's very important. And part of me regrets it a little bit now because I didn't take that help that was there when I needed it. But, you know, my parents knew how to help me in different ways. And they backed off, knowing I needed my time to process. Another thing is if you have young children, that's going to be a whole other video, going through such a loss when you have young children or children in general. It adds a whole other layer because not only are you hurting and in pain for yourself, but trying to be a parent and grieve at the same time is the hardest thing you're ever going to do. Explaining to your child what has happened when you can't understand it yourself and you can't wrap your brain around it, hardest thing you're going to do. Making those decisions, if you should take your children to go say goodbye to their parent or their step-parent or somebody that they loved, that's difficult. Whether it was a dog you're saying goodbye to or, you know, their dad. So we will get into that a little bit later in another video. I just want to say, please take care of yourself. Try to eat. Take a shower. Have friends, have family step in, watch kids, make meals, do the laundry. You will not function for a little while. It's going to be a while. And it's completely normal. If you need to drive in 100 circles like I did, literally hundreds and hundreds, and I mapped out the area. And it was like all of a sudden, from someone who has never had bipolar, OCD, PTSD, any of these disorders, all of a sudden it was like I was a lunatic. I had lost my whole sense of reality. But that's what I needed at the time. It was it's almost your brain's way of protecting, trying to cushion some of the blow that you're taking by all of a sudden putting you into like panic, overdrive, OCD, bipolar. I mean, literally circles. My brain was just, I couldn't stop it in the beginning. So looking back, I wish I knew better to take care of myself a little bit better, because I definitely paid for it later on, especially when it comes to my teeth and my mouth and the not eating. It caused me a lot of problems, to say the least. But here I am, and I'm hoping to pass this information on to you. And I hope that you take it. And I hope that it's useful and that you can relate to what I'm saying right now. Okay, I think I'm on like 26 minutes here, and I don't even know if this video is any good. I need to like really think through more videos and topics and maybe go more in a better flow here. But listen, I'm sorry for your loss, and I hope that you'll continue watching me and comment and let me know if there's something you want to know about, need advice on, or just want to yell, scream, cry. I'm here. Oh, by the way, after 5 years later, I did eventually go back to finish my college degree, and as of this past semester, I am now officially a holder of a college degree in social work. But mental disorders and human services is what I specialized in. I'm kind of in between the job sectors right now. I'm kind of trying to find my way. I've been trying to find my way for 5 years, actually, to be quite honest with you. You know, the plan I had in place, poof, gone. I didn't think I'd make it this far, though. I didn't want to make it this far, to be honest with you, at the time. And I could say I'm pretty damn proud of myself that I've come here and I've made it here. So hold on. There is hope. There is going to be a better day and a better time. I promise. Anyways,